Campari orange, easy fi we. Brother he no hard it, easy fi we. Campari he no cup, easy fi we. Brother he no hard it, easy fi we. At the Campari with your orange juice, that easy, bitter had the pre. Simple mixer, easy 1-3. Campari orange, that easy fi we. Fi mix a Campari orange, add 1 pot Campari with 3 parts orange juice. Drink at the bar, on the beach, or when your girl reach. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
Your computer or phone is your Flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website. It's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime, on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number, and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then, make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for Flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Announcing the development of the National Gender Policy and Action Plan. To be completed December 2021.
The National Gender Policy and Action Plan is a country document that will assist the Federation of St Kitts and Nevis in attaining gender equality and empowerment by
promoting social harmony,
addressing the unique concerns of men and women,
promoting equal opportunity for income generation, educational advancement, and upward mobility,
championing inclusivity.
Look out for the launching of our gender policy, a commitment to gender equality for all boys and girls, men and women.
Sponsored by the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs with funding by UNESCO.
Morning, St Kitts and Nevis. You're listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. Today is Friday, August 13th, 2021. Friday the 13th. It is 8 minutes past the hour of 11, and we're going to start Voices right now. As per usual, I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let me say thank you to all of you who took the opportunity to tune in to today's edition of Voices, and we are going to be focusing on a specific topic today. But of course, if you have something that you would want to air your opinion on, I will give you the opportunity to do so. Let me give out the numbers right now. The numbers to call later on will be the 466-0989-762-0989 and the 662-0989. Remember, we are also live on Facebook at WINN Media SKN, as well as YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. And you can listen to us live at www.winnmediaskn.com. This is Voices, and I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. So we received the Pfizer vaccines yesterday at the ROB International Airport. There was a press conference yesterday and a ceremony to acknowledge that the Pfizer vaccines are now here in St Kitts and Nevis, and this is something that I would say some people have been waiting for, as people did express their opinion to say that they preferred to take a different vaccine, not the Pfizer vaccine. But no, the Pfizer vaccine is here, and I want to entertain a conversation on this to hear your feedback on it and for you to share your views. Would you be going out to be vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine? Because I know there were some persons that were waiting for this one and were not necessarily confident with the AstraZeneca vaccine. But I just wanted to share some information about vaccination, or specifically the Pfizer vaccine. And this information is coming from the World Health Organization. I believe, providing this information would help to boost one's confidence and trust in the vaccine. And I think the approach from the government should have been to roll out an education campaign, then you bring the vaccines. But to bring the vaccines and then roll out the campaign, I guess that's just my way of thinking. But the minister did say that they were going to, or they will be, rolling out their education campaign very shortly. So while vaccine supplies are limited, it is recommended that priority be given to health workers at high risk of exposure and older people, including those aged 65 and older. Countries can refer to the WHO prioritization roadmap and WHO values framework as guidance for their prioritization of target groups. Now, who else can take the vaccine? The vaccine has been found to be safe and effective in people with various conditions that are associated with increased risk of severe disease. This includes hypertension, diabetes, asthma, pulmonary, liver, or kidney disease, as well as chronic infections that are stable and controlled. Furthermore, studies are required for the impacts on immune-compromised persons. The interim recommendation is that immune-compromised persons who are part of a group recommended for vaccination may be vaccinated, though when possible not before receiving information and counseling. It says here people living with HIV are at higher risk or severe COVID-19 disease. Limited safety data exists on HIV-infected persons with well-controlled disease from the clinical trials. Known HIV-positive vaccine recipients should be informed and, when possible, counseled in relation to the available data. Vaccination can be offered to people who have had COVID-19 in the past, but given the limited vaccine supply, individuals may wish to defer their own COVID-19 vaccination for up to 6 months from the time of the SARS-CoV-2 infection, being infected with COVID-19. Now, vaccine effectiveness is expected to be similar in lactating women as in other adults. WHO recommends the use of the vaccine in lactating women as in other adults. It also says that they do not recommend discontinuing breastfeeding because of vaccination. Who should not take the vaccine? People with a history of severe allergic reaction to any component of the vaccine should not take it. There are currently no efficacy or safety data for children below the age of 12. Until such data are available, individuals below 12 years of age should not be routinely vaccinated. Now, is this vaccine recommended for adolescents? A phase 3 trial in children aged 12 to 15 years showed high efficacy and good safety in this age group, leading to an extension of the previous age indication from 16 years onwards down to age 12 onwards. Evidence suggests that adolescents, particularly older adolescents, are as likely to transmit SARS-CoV-2 as adults. WHO recommends that countries should consider using the vaccine in aged 12 to 15 only when high vaccine coverage with 2 doses has been achieved in the high priority groups as identified in the WHO prioritization roadmap. Now, we have a clip here from the Minister of Health, Akila Byron Nisbet, stating the government's position on mandatory vaccination, as well as providing some information about or giving an indication about what the government plans to do in the coming days or weeks as it relates to the administration of the Pfizer vaccine, whether it be to specifically children or adults. So we're going to have this clip played for you. Take a listen.
We will make that announcement shortly. As I would have said already, we want to work closely with the Ministry of Education. So as we speak, all of our SOPs are being put in place and the meetings are being had with the Ministry of Education to make sure that when we roll out the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccines, we do so effectively and in a safe manner. We'll make sure that the adequate announcement is made, and we also want to make sure that persons are very well educated about the Pfizer vaccines as well. So information will be given shortly in terms of when we will start, but you can rest assured that ahead of the actual rollout will be our education sessions on these particular vaccines. We are not in a position right now to suggest whether or not we would make it mandatory. We continue with in the same vein where we give you the information to allow you to make an informed decision as to whether or not you want to be vaccinated. And so at this point in time, we are still not looking at mandatory vaccinations from a government position. Okay. Well, we will continue with our education programs to make sure that persons get the information that they need and are encouraged and persuaded to take the vaccine. But beyond that, for us, it's about moral suasion, and we are hopeful that persons would understand and accept that the vaccines save lives, and vaccines is something that have been saving lives and protecting us from many diseases over the past. I mean, in St Kitts and Nevis, we have a very successful immunization program, especially for our children, and so we are hopeful that persons would see the benefits of vaccination, understand where vaccinations have brought us from and where we are now because of vaccination and vaccines, and the most effective vaccines against diseases such as polio and chicken pox and you name it. And so we are still hopeful that persons would eventually get see within them that the importance of the vaccination, and they will be encouraged to take the vaccine.
Your computer or phone is your Flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website, it's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for Flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Announcing the development of the National Gender Policy and Action Plan. To be completed December 2021.
The National Gender Policy and Action Plan is a country document that will assist the Federation of St Kitts and Nevis in attaining gender equality and empowerment by
promoting social harmony,
addressing the unique concerns of men and women,
promoting equal opportunity for income generation, educational advancement, and upward mobility,
championing inclusivity.
Look out for the launching of our gender policy, a commitment to gender equality for all boys and girls, men and women.
Sponsored by the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs with funding by UNESCO.
Blue Band on bread, so great in baking your cakes. More flavor in your vegetables, less fat, so good. Cook with more flavor, less fat, oh, oh, oh. Amazing in your cooking, your family will love it. More taste with less fat. Cook now with Blue Band. Blue Band. More flavor with less fat.
Summer is here. Oh, but so much to do. Renovating the house, preparing for back to school. Plus, I really could consolidate some loans to free my hand for some extra cash. Let me think. Where should I go? TDC Financial Services. I can get up to $40,000 unsecured in their Hello Summer Loan promotion. And then I'll be able to get all I need. Hello Summer. TDC Financial Services. Here I come.
Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. It is 22 minutes past the hour of 11. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. For those of you who tuned in late, that was the Minister of Health, Akila Baron Nisbet, providing some information on the government's plan for the Pfizer vaccine that arrived in the Federation on Thursday, August 12th, and what they plan to do in terms of the education campaign and when they will be rolling out. And so she's encouraging people to stay tuned to the media houses to find out more information about the Pfizer vaccine and, of course, when they will begin this rollout. She did say that there is no intention to make the vaccine mandatory right now, but I guess they're in a stage where they're still having that conversation. I would say maybe there may not be a need to, as we're now at 60%. We're fully vaccinated. We're 20,000 or over 20,000 people have taken both doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, and so that is a indication, or a clear indication rather, that people have decided to be vaccinated. So there won't be a need for mandatory vaccination at this time. We are going to open the phone lines early, and we want to hear from you, the callers, your opinion on the Pfizer vaccine. I know that it is for children over the age of 12 and to 15, over the age of 12 up to 15. This is what the WHO is recommending, and of course other adolescents. If you're a parent and you're listening, would you be open to your child taking the Pfizer vaccine? I think this is the conversation that we need to have. We have a caller on the line. We'll take our first call for this morning. Caller, good morning. You are on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Cornelius. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good, thanks.
Mr. Cornelius, with your permission, I would like to bring something to the attention of our people. It can be trickled down to what you're discussing, but it might be a bit off.
Right, but
with your permission, if I may.
Right, caller, but we're trying to focus on the Pfizer vaccines that came in today.
Cornelius is going to touch in with it. It will touch in the end. Just hear me out for a minute, will you?
Okay, sure, go ahead.
Mr. Cornelius, we are a Christian people, right? And I want to focus our people's attention to the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female, created he them. That's Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. Now I'm going to move to Genesis chapter 2, verse 15. And the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And he commanded the man, of every tree in the garden thou shalt eat freely, except the tree of knowledge of good and evil. For the day thou eat it, thou shalt surely die. Mr. Cornelius, let us pay attention to verse 18 of the second chapter of Genesis, verse 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a help meet for him. Here, the first book, verse 27, he says, God created him, male and female created he them. Now, the inconsistency here, and I'm not questioning God, I am questioning the writer, those who give us the King James Version. The inconsistency here is that in verse 18, he said, and the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. Now, why should it say this when it first said in the first chapter, verse 27, God created he, him, male and female created he, them. You see the inconsistency that I'm getting at, Mr. Cornelius?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here, the book also tells us that God took Adam and placed him in the garden and caused a deep sleep to fall on him, and then he took the rib out of Adam and formed Eve. After the first chapter, verse 27 says, he created man in his own image, in the image of God created he, male and female. I want our people to pay attention to this. Because first here, he created male and female, but then in the second book, verse 18, he says, and the Lord said, it is not good that the man should be alone. This is something that we have read over and over. I myself, and I've read the whole book. I hope Mrs. Henry is listening. I would like to say good morning to Mrs. Henry, because Mr. Cornelius, what we had before Christianity was spirituality. We had spirituality, we had our culture, we had our education system, and that came from the linguistic that was obtained by God from the very first that he created when he said, let us make man. Now, Mrs. Henry disagree with me that Lord Macaulay's letter did not succeed in what he said he was going to do when he said he walked the length and breadth of Africa. And he was referring to the geographical space of Nigeria at the time. When he didn't see a beggar or a thief, such moral, such caliber of people, that they would not be able to break them until they break their very backbone. That trauma that they broke trickles down to you and me today, Mr. Cornelius. It trickles down to our unborn generation, because the land of milk and honey that belongs to us, the West, America, Canada, England, they have reaped generational wealth by keeping the people of the continent of Africa poor, and that includes one else who is hearing my voice, of the black race. Restoration, the truth is available now, but sadly, people are hiding from the truth. I would like to hear Mrs. Henry comment. I asked her, I think earlier in the week, I didn't hear a comment, but I heard her on a different radio station. I'm not getting at her, because I have great respect for her. But I would like, if she's here with me, let her clarify what the first book of Genesis said when he created male and female, as to the second chapter, verse 18, when he placed the man in the garden and said, it is not good for him to be alone. And they gave us, I'm going to finish now, Mr. Cornelius.
Right, but before you go, I want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what I was asking, what is your, I've listened to you, but what is your take on the arrival of the Pfizer vaccines?
Well, Mr. Cornelius, you know, it's like, if I were to rehash what BBC and CNN is saying, along with everyone else who is saying what they are saying, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but what they are regurgitating, you know, I let who want to regurgitate what BBC, CNN, and Fox are showing them. I hear them, but I have no comment, because I am feeding from a different source. So what is going on with the Pfizer and the AstraZeneca and all of those things, my concern is for me to just stay safe and be healthy. I don't mean to be disrespectful to anyone by saying they are regurgitating what they're showing us, but I am feeding from a different source, Mr. Cornelius, and that source is from my ancestors, the custodian, who have obtained the linguistic, which was not English, mind you. When God created the human race, it was not English. What we have is a version.
Right. So
I am feeding from the source of my ancestors on the continent of Africa, from different platforms that most of the world aren't aware of. And I showed off these platforms on your station.
Okay.
All you have to do is to just subscribe and take your journey.
Okay, so So this is where you get your information from in terms of for vaccines?
Well, like I said, I'm hearing all the talks about vaccine, and, you know, for me, I know that this coronavirus, when it hit, Mr. Cornelius, I've been out of a job now for 16 months. And I have worked in the hotel industry. The vaccine, my opinion, it was created just like every other thing that they have thrown at us. Because remember, 2019 was the year of return. By that I mean Africans in the diaspora, in America, in Europe, in the Caribbean, they had the opportunity to return to the continent of Africa. This, in my opinion, this coronavirus was formulated in a lab, and it was thrown up because they know our story. Their time is up, Mr. Cornelius. And what they're trying at us is because they're selling themselves, they know their time is up, they're not going to hand over power to us. So in any way, let us take them as much as they can. This is my opinion, but the facts are there. This is not a conspiracy anymore. The facts are there. And the question we need to ask is, how serious are we going to get by taking those who are responsible for this corona and the vaccine? Because we don't know what's going to happen to us 10 years down the line after we take the vaccine. The question we need to find out now, how are we going to take those who are responsible for the atrocity and human life to the Hague and see that they're punished for the wickedness that they're doing to us, colored people? Thank you for hearing me.
Right, thank you, caller, for your contribution to this program. We are still continuing with calls here on Voices. The numbers to call are 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. We have another caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You're live on Voices.
Good morning. I hope you're all right.
I'm doing good, thanks.
Okay. Let me say something, and I hope it doesn't take me very long, because in a way I'm starting getting wary of this thing. Okay, we talk about the vaccine. And we hear a lot of things going around talking about you don't take the job, you have no job. You hear about herd immunity and anti-vaxxers and this divisiveness. Now, listen, what I would want to know, and I really would like to know, I know maybe you might not be in a position to answer this question, but I'm not going to ask them anything. I'm not going to ask them nothing. But I would really want to know if our people and the task force, if they do tune in, because you hear them talk, you hear persons branding this thing about conspiracy theory and conspiracy theorists. Do they ever tune in and look at interviews that is conducted with, persons who interview, like Bill Gates and what they call, it's a Dr. Fauci. I don't know them, I just remember, just repeating the name. And some of these guys who are intimately involved with this vaccine and the COVID and whatever, do they listen to them? Do they listen to them? Because there are actually questions I ask them, and they have to answer. They have to answer. Because their own people, the American public, ain't making no joke. So they have to answer. Sometimes they may not, sometimes they use a lot of words to spin and so on, but you can read through the lines and all of that, but sometimes they're straight with what they say. And they keep telling people about this mRNA thing that is in these vaccines, especially they say the Pfizer and the Moderna and I think, and the problems with it. They're telling people, they are talking. And it is now like it's a genetic engineering thing, but they put this pandemic to push this thing through. It's the testing to see how this thing will go out on humans. That's why you see a lot of people, they are jumping up. People saying they don't have any problem with vaccine. But what people are doing, and our people down here is doing the same thing, maybe for economic reasons. And some go as far as to call people selfish, but I think they are the ones who are selfish because maybe they have not even taken the shot. Right? Yeah. It's all about, maybe they're suffering now and they want to get back to what they were getting, right? So push the people who they don't care about, you know what I mean? But you even hear some of them down here pushing a lot of these things and so on, and they don't really know what they're saying. But these guys are talking to people, and they're saying that thing that they're putting into people now, it is like, it's a DNA manipulator. It's not me who say it, because the information is out there. I didn't say it. It's out there for everybody to access. It's coming out of the mouth of these people who are directly involved. And some of them, when they realize what was happening, they move away and they start talking. But what happened is that a lot of these, like, media, what they call it, platforms, like Facebook and so on, they're trying to shut people down now. Especially when they come out and they're talking about the vaccine, they shut them down. Right? Because for their plan to go through, they can't let people know and speak about the other side or the truth of what is happening. But they're talking. So I want to know if our people down here, they're not exposed to this sort of information. Why they keep pushing a one-sided narrative? Or is it a matter they're in a position where they can't do any better? They have to push it on the people, whether they know it is harmful or not. I am wondering. I mean, this is a serious matter, Because as I listened to one guy when he said, listen, it goes in and manipulates DNA. What some will say genetic engineering is a gene therapy. And he said with the right programming, a human can be turned into anything they want. So in a way, maybe somewhere in the future, you might have what they call transhuman. So they say it's an experiment. I know a lot of people don't like to hear it. People, before you all start to curse, get personal with people, it's better to listen. Keep it in the back of your mind if you don't want to keep it in the forefront. It doesn't make no sense to jump up and attack your people, especially people who look like you. Because if this is what is happening, if it is really designed for what they say it's for, you will know. If it is designed for something else, you will also know. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. But what marvels me is the position where our people in, because they're not in a position to bargain or to say anything. They have to do what they are told. And that's the sad case and position that black people find themselves in. They are stripped of power, whether economic, mental power, whatever. And because of this now, we see all of this back and forth and this yang and this way against one another. Look at how our people turning against one another.
I've seen it, and it's sad. It's really, really sad.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, it's not our own stuff. This is the white man's thing, and look at how our own people are willing to kill their own for something that is not, and they don't even know. Even though they're telling you, they're telling people, they're talking. But somewhere along the line, something is being covered up. I don't know. I'm not saying that whatever this thing with, and that is why people talking so to it, because they say follow the science, but you also have to follow experience. Experience is the greatest teacher. Science can always lie because it's flesh and blood that dealing with it. Flesh and blood, I assume, that is dealing with it. They can always come out and say something to suit their objective. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is correct in reality, right? But if it is suits their objective and they put it out there and people believe it long enough, it is the truth, as they say. A lie becomes the truth. All you have to do is say it long enough, hard enough. Try to indoctrinate, right? But they're talking. They're really talking, but we are not paying attention, and that's why you see I don't want to be in certain positions. You hear me, my dear? It's not easy. So like me, so me couldn't last, and me can't stand for my conscience. So If misses somebody going straight down the cliff, and especially if they're blind and sad, me not gonna let them go. I don't know. I am going to help to pull them back if they still want to go on their own. Well, it's a sad, sad state that we're in. It's a sad, sad state that we're in. But I think if we read the book of Revelation, and that is something else I want to talk on, but not now. In the book of Revelation, because a lot of things that has been said there about what will happen and the mark and so on, I'm seeing it, and a lot of church people, they're missing it. And that's why I say church people are religious, they are Christians, but they have no spiritual discernment. Even with this, what is happening, I don't think they're seeing it. They're spiritually blind. Because sad to say, a lot of these people are pushing. No, that doesn't mean that if you want to take it, eh? If you want to take it, you take it. I'm not here to dissuade anybody or discourage. I'm just speaking the information as is. I'm trying to have a balance. I'm not here to say don't take it. I'm not here to say to take it. Because who is to take it is going to take it.
Right.
And that is not going to prevent those who take it from speaking out. Because information always come out. You know? So that doesn't mean that who take it can't speak out against the negative when it comes. So it is sad, but we as a people, I guess, we're still not aware of what is really happening to us. I think we feel like everybody loves us and everybody who smiles at us is our friend. And it's so sad that we are a people, we are so quick to just forget our history and feel like because this and this and this and this, it doesn't exist. Well, anyways, to each his own, his or her own. I'll continue to listen.
You're right. Carla, thank you so much for your contribution. We want to continue this conversation, but let's take this short break to say thank you to the sponsors for this program. And when we come back, we're going to take some more calls.
Found the Sound 98.9. WINN FM.
Announcing the development of the National Gender Policy and Action Plan. To be completed December 2021.
The National Gender Policy and Action Plan is a country document that will assist the Federation of St Kitts and Nevis in attaining gender equality and empowerment by
promoting social harmony,
addressing the unique concerns of men and women,
promoting equal opportunity for income generation, educational advancement, and upward mobility,
championing inclusivity.
Look out for the launching of our gender policy, a commitment to gender equality for all boys and girls, men and women.
Sponsored by the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs with funding by UNESCO.
Gift for Dad's birthday? Click. Ooh, Janice's retirement party? Click. Outfit for my girl's wedding? Click.
With TDC Airbox, you click, we ship. Register for your free U.S. mailbox today and shop all your favorite stores online. Enjoy the convenience, free consolidation up to £10, competitive rates, free package tracking account with live notifications, free delivery, and of course, excellent customer service. Visit our website at tdcairbox.com and register today. For more information, visit our offices at the C.A. Paul Industrial Site in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Site in Nevis. Follow us on social media at TDC Airbox. TDC Airbox. You click, we ship. Terms and conditions apply.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WINN FM.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drugstore's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drugstore's curbside pickup service.
Taste the real Fruta, enjoy the real Fruta, refreshing juice of every day. Whoa, Fruta, drink the real Fruta, your favorite real Fruta.
is Fruta.
Your favorite fruit has got a new skin with real juice within. Drink the real Fruta. Enjoy the real joy.
Taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day is Fruta.
Fruta, juiced right.
Announcing the development of the National Gender Policy and Action Plan. To be completed December 2021.
The National Gender Policy and Action Plan is a country document that will assist the Federation of St Kitts and Nevis in attaining gender equality and empowerment by
promoting social harmony,
addressing the unique concerns of men and women,
promoting equal opportunity for income generation, educational advancement, and upward mobility,
championing inclusivity.
Look out for the launching of our gender policy, a commitment to gender equality for all boys and girls, men and women.
Sponsored by the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs with funding by UNESCO.
Your computer or phone is your Flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website. It's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for Flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. We had some callers on the line. Caller, you can call us back at 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. This is Voices on WINN FM 98.9, and I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. It is 11:49, and we are winding down. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Devon. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing good. And you?
As usual, giving God thanks.
Great.
You brought us to another week. Good morning to all your listeners at home and abroad. It is indeed, we have a lot to give God thanks for. Oh, good morning, Journey. The word them there refer to the animals. Go back and read. He made the animals that male and female created. It's them. That them they refer to the animals, because man was made last. Now, have you ever read this book called The Miseducation of the Negro?
No.
Have you ever heard about it?
No, it's first time.
You must try and get your hand on it. You know, it spoke about the things we do and the way we think was designed by our colonizers. But what I find very interesting these days, that the miseducators are black people. We have black people walking around miseducating other black people under the guise that they love black people, to the point where they make us look stupid. Now, the Pfizer, let me get to the Pfizer, because that's the topic. Now, many were saying that they were waiting for the Pfizer. Isn't that so?
Yeah.
Yeah, they said, well, they want the one because the Pfizer is effective. You know, I have some people, not referring to anybody in particular, who now come with another whole set of conspiracy theories. I mean, we get the impression that some black people think that all black people are stupid. If they wanted to affect the black people only, today Africa would not have been short of a vaccine. The last place to get vaccine are Africans. There are some countries in Africa that have not even received any. Haiti and all those places. Reason, if you want to affect, you will leave the black people for last. You don't go straight for them. And then again, there are more Caucasian and other races who are being vaccinated black people. So are they going to turn into black people? Are they going to become black? Oh, we don't know what's going to happen in the next, darling. The Bible says, prepare to meet your God. He said, no man know the day nor the hour, you know, when your number will be called. Your duty is to make sure that you are right with God.
So let me.
I don't know about in the next 25 years. I mean, really.
But let me ask you.
Black scientists, we are no longer slaves. Our people are of high intellect. So when we come making these statements, as if, oh well, black people ain't know this and black people ain't know that, and only me what conspiracies. We must give our people more credit. I keep saying it all the time, you know. We must give our people more credit than we do. We tend to give the Caucasian more credit without even realizing it. They want to do this to us, and they want to do, of course in the past they did it to us, but we are more enlightened. You don't think so? You don't think so, Cornelius?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, 'cause look at you. You're a young fella. In my day, a young fella like you, he wouldn't even have the chance. He wouldn't even be able to make a proper sentence. You understand what I'm talking about? Our children are going to universities. They are exposed to higher learning. For heaven's sake, give them some credit. Our leaders now are no longer the Caucasian, all to the Caribbean. In Africa. So the people in Africa are still backward. They didn't come out. So nobody robbed them. They did not come out. And go to Africa, any African country. They still have their culture. I listen to a lot of African things, you know. Even there was a young Nigerian doctor on a WINN FM show one time explaining the difference between the way we go about dating and whatever. And they have their culture. So we got this poor African people in mind. Now some of our people have gone like they're stupid. Every curiosity here we come out, they pick it up. They're like the white supremacists. That's what they equated to, you know. They can't see nothing good in black people. Oh, and they're going to come and give us this thing, and they're going to this and that. Mr. Brothers and sisters, this is not that age. And that is why I call upon young people to speak up. This is why I educate myself. How can you be educated along one side? It can't work, Journey. How would you know what they're planning, what they're doing, if you don't listen? I do appreciate a lot of things you say, but you can't reason without knowing both sides. It don't make any sense. You're going to know all what the black people say. Fair enough. But what the white people say about us, how will you know? So I would ask you to open your mind some more, because you're saying, oh, I don't interact with that, darling. You cannot avoid it. You cannot. I don't think there's one place in the world you could go to avoid it. And the quicker we learn to listen to all sides and to be able to make proper judgment, we'll be better off. Because some of the things that we mouth, you want to make people crazy. Oh, and they put the this and the that and the that. And then, you know, look, please. I respect black people. I was born poor. I grew up poor. It was one thing my mother did. She made education priority. Education. I make sure I listen to both sides, all sides, and see what makes sense and what don't make sense. Because it is sad today to see, black people, Negroes, miseducating their own people. That's all I have to say. And all of you who are waiting for the Pfizer, now is the time. We will know who are telling the truth from who are just talking. You wanted an alternative. Now, some of you saying you're waiting for the Cuban vaccine. During the protest in Cuba, one of the concerns the people had was access to vaccine. Wasn't that so?
Yes.
Just like India. I don't know when you think you can get Cuba one if Cuba don't have enough for themselves. And the Cubans are saying they are ready and willing, but there are certain things that they lack. So we got to learn to be honest. If you don't want to take it, say, I am not going to take it. That's all.
Yeah, and I respect that too. I've said it a million times. If you don't want to take it, that is fine. But I think the unnecessary, creation of confusion is sad.
It's deliberate.
It's sad.
Let me tell you. You say what's going on? It is deliberate. Everybody jostling in the marketplace of ideas to see who could confuse who. If you don't want it, don't take it. Just test. Have the test. You don't want a long story.
And this is my position. I've said it before. I understand that people. I mean, it is your right whether you want to be vaccinated or not. I've said choices come with consequences. You don't take it, fine. You take it, it's fine. It's the same thing.
If you're listening to what people say, Lord, some black people got sense. All black people have not been bought out. So all black people who said the same thing like the scientists doesn't mean that they were bought out or sold out. Y'all don't have no respect for black people. The things you say. And I don't think that we know, and our people don't know. Darling, look, I tell you, I taught in Bassey High School, And and that is I taught from 78 to 82. I went off to university, came back. 84, I taught a year. The things that the children were doing in third form, because Bassey School started in third form, it's things I didn't even learn until I went to Teachers College. Our children are smarter than you think. They're much wiser than you. So when we come trying to miseducate our people, all you're doing is confusing the youth. All right, then.
Right. Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution. It is 11:59, and so that is it for the callers. Let me say thank you guys so much for tuning into this edition of Voices. We're going to come back after the headline news to continue Voices today. I've been your host, Devon Cornelius. This is a very interesting conversation. I know, yes, the talk of vaccine and vaccination has been on the table for a very long time, of course, since the onset of the pandemic. And it is a topic that is very hard to stay away from. It's a topic that is very hard to stay away from, as everything that we do today is COVID-19 related. And so the conversation of vaccination, vaccines, COVID-19 will always be on the forefront. At Wednesday's NEOC press briefing, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Laws and the Medical Chief of Staff Dr. Cameron Wilkinson say that they suspect or they believe that we may have the Delta variant here. They're not sure, but with flights coming in daily from the UK through Antigua, and flights coming from the United States of America, there is a possibility that the Delta variant may be here. These are their words. This is what they stated at Wednesday's press briefing, and the CMO did state that samples were dispatched to the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, for them to make that determination as to whether we have the Delta variant here. And so I guess in the coming days, they will be coming to tell us the results of those samples. In the meantime, I want to encourage you to stay safe, you and your family. If you've decided to be vaccinated, if that's fine. If you've decided not to be vaccinated, that is totally fine. I've said choices, there are consequences. Because if you take it, there are consequences. If you don't take it, there are consequences. And I respect the opinions of people, whether they choose to be vaccinated or not. I totally respect it. I just want to encourage you to continue to wear your face mask, wash your hands, and follow the COVID-19 control and prevention measures. We can't go back into another lockdown. Let's try to keep our cases as low as possible so that we can continue our day-to-day operations as a people. These lockdowns are terrible, financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, and it's definitely something that we don't want. And so again, I want to encourage all of you to continue to practice and follow the COVID-19 protocols. Do your part to keep you and your family safe. And please, just wear a face mask. That's all you have to do. Wear a face mask. I know sometimes the place is hot and you can't bother with these face masks. I understand. But as much as possible when you're in a public space, please wear a face mask. And change your face mask too. Change it. I see people wearing the face masks 2, 3, 4, and 6 times and changing their face mask every week. Please change it every day. We'll take a break for the headline news, and we're coming back this afternoon to continue Voices. Let's hear the headline news.
You found the sound. 98.9. WINN FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Cariboury.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It
It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
With the WINN headline news, I am Kevon Brown. Making the headlines, St Kitts and Nevis government not mandating vaccines. Invest 95L approaching Leeward Islands. The Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association stands by its decision on COVID-19 testing, and the association is also bracing for an increase in prices in certain produce within the island. Internationally, Afghanistan's second biggest city, Kandahar, has fallen to the Taliban. Now, the details. The government has not mandated vaccines for the COVID-19 virus for children in St Kitts and Nevis. The Federation received a donation of 11,700 doses of the Pfizer vaccine from the U.S. on Thursday. This donation has not been allocated for our population of children under 12 years old. Minister of Health Akila Byron Nisbet said the government will share the public health information about the pandemic's impact and benefits of vaccination, but the decision to inoculate yourself and your children is a matter of personal choice.
We are not in a position right now to suggest whether or not we would make it mandatory. We continue with in the same vein where we give you the information to allow you to make an informed decision as to whether or not you want to be vaccinated. And so at this point in time, we are still not looking at mandatory vaccinations from a government position.
Byron Nisbet explained. St Kitts and Nevis was among the first of 6 countries allotted vaccines as part of the U.S. government's donation of 837 Pfizer vaccines to Caribbean nations. The Bahamas is expected to receive 397,000 doses, Trinidad and Tobago over 305 doses, Barbados 70,200 doses, St. Vincent and the Grenadines 35,100 doses, and Antigua and Barbuda 17,550 doses. There is no date as to when the rollout of the Pfizer vaccines will be administered here. According to Pfizer, the vaccines are shipped in thermal shippers, which maintain ultra-cold temperatures using dry ice. The vaccine can last up to 30 days by refilling these shippers with dry ice every 5 days. The vaccines can then be transferred to a freezer for up to 2 weeks, then to a refrigerator for up to 1 month or 31 days. Additional guidelines suggest that administrators use the vaccine within 6 hours once the vial is punctured, and once thawed, the vaccine cannot be placed back in the freezer. Residents in the Leeward Islands are being asked to keep eye on Invest 95L, which is approaching the island chain. In its latest advisory at 11 a.m., the National Hurricane Center stated that Invest 95L was located 840 miles east of the Lesser Antilles. The system is moving towards the west-northwest at 20 miles per hour. Maximum sustained winds are near 30 miles per hour with higher gusts, and the system has an 80% chance of development into a tropical storm in the next 48 hours. A tropical cyclone statement issued by the Antigua and Barbuda Meteorological Services stated that a tropical cyclone alert means a tropical disturbance with over a 50% chance of becoming a tropical cyclone is in our monitored area. Watches and warnings are not required at this time, but may be required in the next 48 hours. The system is likely to affect the Leeward Islands late Saturday into Sunday. In regional news, the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association stands by its decision on COVID-19 testing, and the association is also bracing for an increase in prices in certain produce within the island. Barbados Today has more.
The Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association is standing firmly by its decision to require regular testing for employees who are not fully vaccinated against COVID-19. The tourism officials say while the number of individuals in the sector getting vaccinated was increasing, it was still at an unfavorable 35% for some entities and between 70% and 90% for others. BHTA Chairman Jeffrey Roach and Chief Executive Officer Senator Rudy Grant told a news conference on Thursday that they believe education and awareness on the matter will help to get more tourism workers vaccinated and, if not, get tested regularly. Government has made no decision on mandatory testing and vaccination, and the town hall meetings are currently being held to get the public's view on the issues. Meanwhile, tourism industry executives are bracing for likely price hikes in poultry and other meat products, which they say could have a significant impact on the already struggling industry. The tourism and hospitality industry depend heavily on local farmers for poultry and other meat products. BHTA Chairman Jeffrey Roach said the imminent price increase situation must be addressed in a creative way.
The truth is that the increase that we're seeing, if not addressed in some creative way, will definitely have a financial impact on the industry, because this industry requires a significant number of inputs, and a lot of those inputs will be impacted by the cost increases that we're seeing. The increase in cost of feed that will then, of course, translate increased costs of poultry and other livestock. What we've seen is also the increased cost of shipping, which has then meant that that cost is passed on. So I think as an industry, we actually have to have a discussion on it, because I have heard what I consider some creative solutions being moved elsewhere, which we probably need to have some discussion on. But it is a necessary conversation, because we already know that Barbados is viewed as a high-price destination. And while those costs are likely to be impacting, some of those costs at least, impacting multiple destinations in the same way, we're still seeing to compete for the same tourist dollar. And every additional layer of cost to the industry makes us a little less competitive.
At the same time, the Barbados Agricultural Society has again raised concerns over the possible increase in imported food items, which can be adequately produced locally. BAS Chief Executive Officer James Paul is worried that the recent hike in the price of certain commodities, such as animal feed, would trigger moves by some companies to import a variety of other produce that could put Barbadian farmers out of business.
One of the solutions I hear people calling for in respect of the whole question of the feed issue is to look at imports. Now, when we start to do that, we are not just talking about feed, we are also looking at other items, because in the same way that we say that farmers and their livelihoods will be compromised if we go to the importation of commodities that we produce locally, the same thing applies to feed. We have a feed plant here, and certainly those price increases did not occur through no fault of their own in respect of feed. And of course, I would like to ask that instead of us turning to importation, let us look to see how we as a Barbadian public can support each other more. And that is why, even for instance, I am saying that we have to monitor those persons and importers who will now want to use this increase in the price of local commodities to try to say we will have to import not only more food, but more feed, but also more food.
We now bring you these international reports.
Afghanistan's second biggest city, Kandahar, has fallen to the Taliban in a significant blow for the government forces there. Kandahar is a traditional stronghold for the militant group and a key economic hub. A spokesman for the Taliban said on Friday they had captured 3 other cities, including the capital of Helmand province. They now control most of northern Afghanistan and about a third of the country's regional capitals. In response to the Taliban's swift advances, the Pentagon announced it was sending 3,000 extra troops in to help evacuate US embassy staff. Britain is also deploying troops to help bring its nationals home, as the UK Defence Minister warns the country is spiralling towards a failed state that could become a breeding ground for Al-Qaeda. The speed of the offensive has sparked recriminations among many Afghans over President Joe Biden's decision to withdraw from the conflict. Biden said this week that he did not regret his decision, noting Washington has spent more than $1 trillion on the war and lost thousands of troops. A US intelligence assessment this week said the Taliban could isolate Kabul within 30 days and take it over in 90. The United Nations has warned that if their offensive does reach the capital, it would have a catastrophic impact on civilians.
the quiet of a lifeless forest. Sharp contrast to the violent wildfires that snuffed it out. Christos Bitas walks the burned woods looking for injured animals. The forest stood for many years, he says, filled with animals. Deer, wolves, wild boar, whatever anyone can imagine to find in a forest.
We started trying to save animals right from the start, and as a matter of fact, a lot of these animals we knew because we were feeding them. And unfortunately, we found many of them dead.
All living creatures have souls, he says, so they all matter. Looking at the landscape now, he doesn't know how anything can continue to live here.
Greece's Prime Minister has promised to replant every tree and rehabilitate every forest that's been affected by these wildfires. But we are talking about vast tracts of land that are spread across the entire country. These are forests that it took generations to grow.
Whoever lives in this area are people who are alive. They live in nature, in the forest. They know how to face fires, or are brave enough to help the firefighters.
After a 42-year career covering the war in Vietnam as well as conflicts in Europe and the Middle East, Alekos Voutsaras retired to a house in the woods. A lifetime of photographs, the tools of his trade, cameras, computers, all gone. He might have to return to work, but says he doesn't even know where to begin. He is angry, says he could have saved his house himself, but as a safety measure was forcibly removed by people from the Civil Protection Ministry.
Even though we could have put it out, they cut off our water and they forced us out. These are people who don't know this area, people that had nothing to do with firefighting. It was a mess, and this is the situation. My whole life has been burned.
He won't leave, even burned to the ground. He says this is his home. He will repair a cot, use a brick as a pillow, and sleep under open sky. His grit is all he has left. Zain Basravi, Al Jazeera, in Greece's Parnitha Mountains.
You were listening to the WINN FM headline news on 98.9. Our top stories were: St Kitts and Nevis government not mandating vaccines. Invest 95L approaching Leeward Islands. The Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association stands by its decision on COVID-19 testing, and the association is also bracing for an increase in prices in certain produce within the island. Internationally, Afghanistan's second biggest city, Kandahar, has fallen to the Taliban. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINN FM headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king. Please drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WINN FM.
Announcing the development of the National Gender Policy and Action Plan. To be completed December 2021.
The National Gender Policy and Action Plan is a country document that will assist the Federation of St Kitts and Nevis in attaining gender equality and empowerment by
promoting social harmony,
addressing the unique concerns of men and women,
promoting equal opportunity for income generation, educational advancement, and upward mobility,
championing inclusivity.
Look out for the launching of our gender policy, a commitment to gender equality for all boys and girls, men and women.
Sponsored by the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs with funding by UNESCO.
Here are your Horseless Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag Special.
Running August 12th to August 25th.
Essential Everyday Disinfectant Wipes, $15.99. IGA or Essential Everyday Pasta Sauces, $6.99 each. Glade Air Fresheners, Solid and Aerosol, $5.99. Quaker Cap'n Crunch Cereals, $9.99. Chobani Greek Yogurt, $5.69. IGA or Essential Everyday Trash Bags, $14.99. And now our very low weekly
value deals. IGA Essential Everyday Shredded and Chunk Cheeses, $7.99. The Colgate Toothpaste, $7.99. IGA Essential Everyday Frozen Vegetables, $5.49. Arm & Hammer deodorant, $7.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart. Joan, en español.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a
Value Mart.
Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. It is 27 minutes past the hour of 12. This is WINN FM 98.9. We're going to continue the second half of Voices today. Let me give you the numbers right now. The numbers to call are 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. And we're going to begin taking some calls. It's going to be more of an open forum this afternoon. Call us and give us your take on some of the issues here in St Kitts and Nevis and, of course, across the Caribbean region. We're going to take our first call for this afternoon. We have a caller on the line. Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host for today. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Yes, Cornelius, this is Journey here again. Now, I don't want Mrs. Henry to think this is a tug-of-war or a back and forth. But Mrs. Henry claimed that the verse in Genesis chapter 2, the first book of Genesis, verse 27. I'm going to read it again just for Mrs. Henry. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. Mrs. Henry claimed that he was referring to the animals. Now, how could it say, so God created man in his own image? In the image of God created he him, male and female. And then in the second book, verse 18, and the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a help meet for him. What is Miss Henry telling me? That if he said that he created man in the first chapter, verse 27, so God created man in his own image. Mrs. Henry is telling me that he's referring to the animals. Created he them? Animals, when he said, so God created man. And then in the second book, verse 18. So you see, Cornelius, the narrative of the writer, whether you want to say the author or whoever, because, you know, there are those who would say, when you question these things, you are blaspheming. You are blaspheming. And, you know, what I come to realize, that they put fear, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. That's the fear that they put in us. That's why those who are going to say, when you question these things, you are blaspheming. Well, I'm not questioning God. I'm questioning the writer, the author, and the inconsistency. Because here, it is telling us that God placed the man there, and then he said, after he created male and female, he placed the man in the garden and said, it is not good for him to be alone. And then we know the story of how it tells us in the book that he put Adam to sleep and take a rib out of Adam. But yet, further down in the New Testament, the birth of Christ came from the womb of a virgin. So here we have the first man, Adam, which, according to their narrative, the author, the writer, whoever you want to call it, telling us that God took the female from the rib of a man. But when Christ came, he came to the womb of a virgin. You see the inconsistency? And we shouldn't question these things? Not that we're questioning the power of the Almighty, we're questioning the writer, because they put things there for we to pontificate their narrative. And this is what I want our people to awaken to, because something is not right. If you go back to Genesis the first chapter, verse 27, and then you go to the second book, verse 18, where he said, the Lord said it is not good that the man should be alone. This is what I'm trying to awaken our people to. And when you bring it down to those who have the single names, like the Queen Victoria, the Queen Elizabeth, the Prince Harry, and the Prince William, when you go to the characters in the book of the Bible, they have Abraham, Isaac, Moses, Jacob. You have the prophet, Samuel, Hezekiah, Isaiah. All of them is our ancestors, have one name. But they broke us and they took away our name because what? There's no power is in the name. So anyone who is calling on the God of Jehovah today, That is like trying to take water that is spilled on the ground. Because those prayers are not answers to a Jehovah. Our linguistic was not English. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. I am not here to kick against the prick, Mr. Cornelius. I'm not here to kick against the prick because I was brought up in the church. What I'm saying, we need to wake up because what is in the Bible was written by those who enslave us, and they are the ones who give us their narrative to live. We are pontificating their narrative. And all that they've been trying at us from the beginning. I want to say to Mrs. Henry, with all due respect, Christianity that we have today that came under religion, before Christianity we had spirituality. Lord Macaulay's letter broke that spirituality that we had. And if we think that this is not affecting us down here today, well, look at us today, Cornelius. We came from the geographical space of the continent of Africa through the transatlantic slave trade. That's how we get down here. We have Indians here in St Kitts. We have Chinese. You think those Indian and Chinese are going to say that they're Kittitians if they get children born here? They're going to make their people know that their background is in China, their background is in India. We are running away from given to us by the Most High, the land of milk and honey. That's why the West, America, Canada, Spain, Belgium, all of those places that has created generational wealth from the raw material of Africa. The design that they put on Africa is to keep Africa, the richest continent on the earth, poor, so that they can create generational wealth for their unborn. That is our birthright, Mr. Cornelius. There is where we have to be restored. If you convert from spirituality to Christianity, and you're calling on a God that is Jehovah and a Jesus, they have copied our story, and that's what they give us. Again, I want to repeat, if we are praying to a Jehovah that is written in the book, that prayer is like trying to take water that is spilled on the earth. I can repeat it. If we are calling, when we bow and we go to pray, and we are praying to a God that is Jehovah, those prayers are not answered. One, the reason why they gave us their name is because then the power was in our name. They don't want us to reconnect to this. That's why they're showing us what the continent of Africa today look like with it. It's poverty, which is by their design. I want our people to wake up. Again, Mrs. Henry, I am not kicking against the prick. You know the scripture. I know the scripture. I have read this book of Genesis, and that's the book I'm into right now studying. And there's a lot of inconsistency. Can you imagine, Cornelius, I'm going to finish right now, that Adam, Eve came from the rib, the first man, and the second man, who was the perfect, according to Christianity, the Christ, the Jesus, came from the womb of a virgin. When I mentioned before that which is invisible, the invisible spirit, the Bible teaches us that God is a spirit. Those who worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. That which is visible was made visible in the womb of a woman, not taken from the rib of a man. I want to hear Miss Henry if she gets back in. Thank you for hearing me.
All right, and thank you, caller, so much for your opinion on this program. We are still taking calls here on WINN FM 98.9. It is 12:35. The numbers to call are 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. Call us today and be a part of this discussion. For those of you who tuned in late this morning, before I continue, we'll take this caller on the line. Caller, good morning. You're live on Voices. Good afternoon, sorry. You're live on Voices.
Mr. Cornelius. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just tuned in. Like I say, I listen to you from time to time. Sometimes I learn a lot by listening. We all learn by your contribution. I just tuned in and I did not listen to the program in the morning session, so I don't know if you had a topic at hand. I tuned in.
Yes, this morning. Yes, this morning we were talking about the arrival of the Pfizer vaccines, and we wanted to get the opinion of the callers on that, on the arrival of the vaccines, and if they will be taking those vaccines.
Okay. But what I garner from the first caller is like a really typical opinion from his perspective. And he referred to Queen Mother Henry. I like to call Queen Mother Henry. And, you know, she's a Christian, and respect her Christianity. And I like, but we all grew up in church, in Sunday school. What I like to say, Mr. Cornelius, though, I see myself as a graduate from Sunday school. A lot of us, we pontificate and we stay in Sunday school without graduating, going on to kindergarten. If you were to say, in the perspective of what the learning institution and the order, from kindergarten on up to grade 1 and 2 and the like. What I garner from what the caller was talking about is some what we would consider to be inconsistency, and I also agree with it, because even the scholars has broken down, even by names of what God would have been called by, or the Messiah, or whatever, that is found in the Bible, in Genesis, like Jehovah, or Yahweh, or Yahweh, and some say Jehovah, Yahweh, and, you know, other names that different religious institutions, Christian institutions might call it, or how they pronounce it. And so, scholars agree on the J, the H, 4 categories of literature that was compiled together, put together. Why you would have seen the inconsistency is like putting different narratives of different ideologies into one book, and you will find all of a sudden you're speaking of Yahweh, and then it goes on into Jehovah, and then it goes on into the priestly aspect, and it goes on to, you know, what the law would have been. And all of those segments, they call them, you know, they have acronyms, alphabetical acronyms for those 4 fragmented slicing of what they say. The scholars who went to seminary and study theology would come up with that conclusion. This is what would have happened over the years of what we was given from, we claim, the politics of that day, both in the Old Testament, with who we say the Jews, the chosen people, and also in the New Testament, when the church, the Christian faith, started to take hold, and it came into, like, the empire of Rome and the authority under Constantine would have said, wow, I have this big empire here. How can I unite this empire with this growing faith that is coming? How can I appease everybody? Because all these guys have their own schools, their own, you know, fragments, their own perspective of what Christianity is supposed to be. Let us call a meeting. So in 325 AD, he called a meeting, and the Orthodox won out that day, as opposed to what would they call the heretics. And so those persons was discarded to bring in their schools and let us compile this book from the best of what the ideas. And thus we have this book today. So there was a lot of rivalry, a lot of pushing back as to what should be and what should not be. When certain things were resolved, other things came up. So thus we had the Ecumenical Council, and there are 7 Ecumenical Councils like the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, the Council of Ephesus, the Council of Chalcedon, and all of those councils. There were probably 7 official councils. I think there were 10 in all, but there were 7 official councils that these bishops from the whole Christendom, what we call Christendom, came together and one of the day and they debate who like casting a ballot, and those who got garnered the most, just like a political system is arranged here, one of the day. Sometimes it is necessarily so, sometimes they will sin, sometimes the Pope will say, well, okay, who we call a heretic, we now make this person a saint after the person long died, and all of that. All of that came into play in terms of what Christianity and what we inherit today. So, having to pass the test of time, this is what people, genuine people who grow up in the church, see the inconsistency of things. And I'm going to leave this last example with you. A good friend of mine, I listen to him all the while. But it is in the Bible, where it said that, God regret he made man. Okay? So that's the flood. That's the flood, because he found righteousness in one person. Well, today, where is this righteousness? Where is this righteousness? If you try and get righteousness in one person, where's that person's gene and the person's DNA? It is righteousness continuously. But today we are more evil than the generation before now. Look at what we are facing today. And a lot of things are pointing at that devious man came up and concocted this thing. Now, they expect sensible people to wait for 30 years because they said these things are classified information. So we're going to wait till 30 years to say yes. Okay, we agree that it was made in a lab or it was concocted there or here or there, China or America. That's the political thing with the world superpowers trying to gain advantage over each other, and we, innocent people who God created, got caught up in this mess. And we who want to live a nice, decent life, we don't want to discuss these things. We've gone way ahead of time. We jump over everybody else's head and we're discussing other things, but we don't want to start from where it's supposed to begin. Let's have a conversation where it's supposed to begin. Thanks for listening.
Right. Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution. Very good contribution, actually. We're going to take some more calls at this time. The numbers to call are 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. It is 12:45, and we have another caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Hello, good afternoon. My just simple word is, in everything that is happening, for those who believe in Jesus Christ, continue to believe in Jesus, believe in His word. That's all I have to say. As long as you read the word, and you see what He say can do, believe in Jesus Christ, because you should know what the Scripture says. Those who don't believe, this word is not for you. But if you have an inclination, believe in Jesus, then you believe. Read the Scripture that continue to believe. Have a blessed one.
Right, thank you, caller, for your contribution. We're still taking calls here on Voices. It is 12:45. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. It's an open forum. Call us and touch on whatever topic that you would like to touch on. Something that is bothering you, something that is affecting the people of St Kitts and Nevis, something you've seen happening regionally in other Caribbean islands, internationally, of course. And let's have a conversation on that. We have a caller on the line. We'll take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on Voices.
Yes, Mr. Cornelius. This is Journey here again. Cornelius, there's a lot of things in the Scripture. Like the book says, in the last days, many things would arise. And they're going to be saying this and that. I'm aware of these things that is written. And one thing I can say is that with all that the scriptures tells us that would arise in the last days, it also tells me that, and with no disrespect to the elders, what is hidden from the wise and prudent is being revealed unto babes. However, anyone want to interpret this, it's up to them. We are in 2021. You and I know that our history was hidden from us, because if we knew who we were and where everything all began, we would not have been glorifying those who are killing us. And when I said that, I said this loosely because we have seen recently how a man could just kneel on George Floyd's neck. Mr. Cornelius, you cannot shed blood. When I say that, I mean it's not enough to shed blood of our brothers and sisters. Never mind to take a gun, because what has been spilled over onto our culture. I am not closing my eyes from what's been happening for the past 25 years with our youth killing each other. And yes, this is happening on the continent of Africa too. But I'm going to go back again to Lord Macaulay's letter with his observation that he made while he was walking to and fro on the continent of Africa, where he said he never see a beggar or a thief. A beggar. What does that tell us? That the people, that generation, that civilization that was there was no need for a police station. There was no need for anyone to steal. Everyone was fed. The community used to raise the child. That same spirituality that they had there came down in the transatlantic slave trade with us. Because I, as a youth growing up, I couldn't rude or misbehave in front of any elder who was outside of my family. I don't want to be dwelling on Mrs. Henry because I have respect for her as an elder. But what I'm trying to awake our people to, 2020 is the year of 2020 vision. We're seeing things what was hidden. The truth cannot be hidden forever. And it's there. It's there now and it's available. But sadly, we are still hiding from the truth. I mean, they have broken our very backbone from our education, our culture, our traditions, and our spirituality. And again, I just want to stress on this, Mr. President. I'm going to finish now. We wrote the book. Before the book, it was us. The linguistic that was established by the Most High with us, we wrote the book. What we had was spirituality. If you're going to convert from spirituality to Christianity, your backbone has been broken. What Lord Macaulay observed and set out to do, they did it. Mrs. Henry saying there are places in Africa where they still have their culture. Yes, that is so. But look at the majority of the people, how they're living. Where Mrs. Henry, as an elder, cannot get drinking water. Shouldn't that be a concern to us here? When the West has created generational wealth for the unborn generation from the raw material of our birthright, this is what I want our people to wake up to. Thank you for hearing me.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution. We are going to take a break shortly to say thank you to the sponsors for this program. But in the meantime, we want to continue taking calls here on Voices for you to air your views and opinions on what is happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And the talk right now is about vaccination, Pfizer vaccines, and people, we've been looking at what's happening across the region, Antigua, St. Vincent, Barbados, and recently in the United States Virgin Islands, the USVI, where they are against the mandatory or any mandatory measure imposed on employees to be vaccinated against COVID-19. So it's not necessarily that they are against, being vaccinated against a virus or a disease. It is that they are against being vaccinated at this point in time against COVID-19, and they believe that people should be given the choice to vaccinate. We have a caller on the line, and we will take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Good afternoon again, Devon. Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon.
Did you listen to the news out of the Virgin Islands where some medical workers were locked out from the hospital?
Yes, I did. I was following via their social media pages, the Virgin Islands Consortium.
Yeah, I mean, more and more countries are saying, look, while we respect your choice, you have also got to respect our choice also. Because they're saying, look, you are in close contact with people who are infected.
Mm-hmm.
That is, you must take it, but you must consider that you are putting yourself at risk, And I hear, the vaccinated get this and the vaccinated. There's a verse of scripture that says, if the just scarcely be saved, where will the sinner and the ungodly man appear? So if people who vaccinated barely escaping, what you think going to happen to you? This is why I'm saying we need to have a rational conversation. The consequences you must understand. If you are, I think in Jamaica, they had something in Jamaica, some of these places. I think they said all the medical workers have to be, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're saying, look, we already have the Delta variant, which is more infective. You would be at a greater risk. And what would happen if a large chunk of the medical personnel are infected? What could it have? So sometimes, we are wrapped up in ourselves. Wrap up in ourselves. Why don't they could bring 100? Now, we're not talking about people who for some reason cannot be vaccinated, They're not part of the discussion. Because once the doctor says you cannot be, you should not be, you're not, and for religious reasons, and so we're talking about people who the only reason is that they're not taking any. Well, they might as well expect as time goes by, and they are the ones crying out. We want salary increase. We want help. We want the country to open up. What exactly do you want the country to open up to? Anybody ask the question? What exactly do you want the country to open up to? I don't want a quarantine. Mind you, this one is worse than the first, The whole thing is satanic. You must understand, and all the boats them come. They don't care who infected or who not. I mean, selfishness. And I want my good friend, we never get Journey. Journey, define spirituality for me. Your African spirituality. And what was the name of your God? And whether he named Elohim or Jehovah is the same God, and to suggest and to declare that all who pray into Jehovah answer. What a piece of presumptuousness. So all those who get answer, who answer them? Our fathers all in slavery were praying to the same God, The Jehovah is an English name. The Jews have all kind of name. They name God according to what they need. So we understand the linguistic. But you're very presumptuous to say that all who pray to Jehovah, nothing will be answered. Then maybe you should give it a try. Give the prayer a try. Jehovah, and see what he do for you. All right then.
Right, thank you, caller, for your contribution. We're still taking calls here on WINN FM 98.9. The numbers to call are 4660989, 762 and 662. Interesting conversation. I'm just using the opportunity to listen to the contributions that have been made by the callers. Very, very, very good contribution. We want to take some more calls to hear your opinion on different issues here in St Kitts and Nevis, and of course issues across the Caribbean affecting our Caribbean brothers and sisters. As the caller mentioned, there was a protest in the USVI where nurses and hospital staff were protesting against mandatory vaccination. They were not in support of that. In the meantime, we have a caller on the line. Let's take this caller. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Interesting perspective. Like I said, I attended Sunday school and church, even summer school by the church, where we did craft work, and my mother, she was a member of the Church of God under Sister Fraser, and then Pastor Turner took it over and others. So I always had and enjoy going through the Bible and seeing, geographic areas of what Israel would have been, the 12 tribes, how they were started out, and even pictures of the biblical patriarchs, Abraham, the Isaac, Jacob, the name them. But also, a psalm came to mind, and we read a lot of psalms. And this psalm became the mantra for downtrodden people in the West who would have seen themselves and identified themselves as being taken out from their geographic space and being put in another space. And like they have been scorned. Here are those who take me into captivity. Sing us one of your songs. Sing us one of your songs of where your abode was, where you once were. Sing us one of your songs of Zion. Sing us one of your songs of Zion. And we would say, how can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? You want me to sing a song when you already broke me? You saw the movie. The guy was ripped to say his name was Toby as opposed to Kunta Kinte. Why Kunta Kinte? Because Kunta Kinte have vibrations. And vibrations reverberate. It's because of vibrations, it's everything you see. Why it is? Because it's vibration. The word vibration. How can I sing the Lord's song in a strange land? It's not going to be the same song. It's not going to reverberate. It does not have that vibration because you want me to sing a song in a Babel language. A language that is not being heard. In Babel, why you think they say in Babel the work did not continue? Because I am speaking a Babel language and you are speaking a Babel language. How am I going to know to pass me the mortar or you to pass me the block and so and so and so? How can I sing the Lord's song in a strange land? Yesterday, Mr. Cornelius, we speak the English, right? We do speak the English. It was forced on us. So you could say some of us don't have a choice. But if I had a choice to sing to the Lord and to praise the Most High, I would have chosen to speak to the Most High in the language that He specifically gave my ancestors. And that what I would have been spoken in, because the Most High would have understand exactly what I am saying. How can I sing the Lord's song in a strange land? Thanks for listening. Language have meaning. Words have meaning. Words have vibration. And words is not vibration. Some is babbling. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, caller, for your contribution. We're going to be taking this break shortly to say thank you to our sponsors. It is 2 minutes past the hour of 1. Let's take this break.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag Special.
Running August 12th to August 25th.
Essential Everyday Disinfectant Wipes, $15.99. IGA or Essential Everyday Pasta Sauces, $6.99 each. Glade Air Fresheners, Solid and Aerosol, $5.99. Quaker Cap'n Crunch Cereals, $9.99. Chobani Greek Yogurt, $5.69. IGA or Essential Everyday Trash Bags, $14.99. And now our very low weekly
value deals. IGA Essential Everyday Shredded and Chunk Cheeses, $7.99. The Colgate Toothpaste, $7.99. IGA Essential Everyday Frozen Vegetables, $5.49. Arm & Hammer deodorant, $7.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart. Joan, en español.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a
Value Mart.
Welcome back to Voices. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Yes, Cornelius. Mrs. Henry want me to define spirituality. I'm not going to ask her to define Christianity. But spirituality, in my opinion and what I am understanding, spirituality is harmony, being in harmony with everything that is in nature, and also in harmony with the Most High, the Creator, the linguistic that was established with us. Our communication, we are talking about person, people, place, and thing, when it all began. African spirituality is the only race of people that is in harmony with nature. Have you ever been to New York, Cornelius?
No.
Have you been to Europe?
No.
If you go to any of these countries, you always hear people say New York is a concrete jungle. In Africa, now one would say, well, that was then, and knowledge have increased and all of that. The way we lived in Africa, now, I never been to Africa, but what I am gathering now from my ancestors on the continent of Africa, let me not say my ancestors, but the custodians who have kept that order of what was ordained by God. And Miss Henry, again, I want to say the gender that we have as the masculine. Now, the spirits have no gender. In order for us to become physical, there have to be a feminine energy. That feminine energy is the earth in itself. The earth is alive. Today, when we have any phenomenon, like the flooding that was in Germany, the wildfire now that is in Italy, we call it global warming and climate change. These are words that they're playing with us, Mr. Cornelius. They, who are they? Those who are ruling the world. They so know our history that they're using two things with us, words and numbers. You hear them talking about 70% herd immunity? Well, their time is up. 70% of 100 is just 30% left. If they can take down as much as they can, why not go for it if our time is up?
What are you implying there?
400 years of slavery has been expired, Cornelius. 2020.
Right, but you said take down. What are you implying there?
The vaccine, the coronavirus. I said, in my opinion, this was not something came from no bat. Cornelius, the history is there. They have given us Ebola, AIDS, syphilis, all these viruses that they have experimented on our people. And now they're asking us to trust them with a vaccine that we don't know what effect it's going to cause on our unborn children 10, 15, 20 years down the line. If you go to India...
But caller, if I may interject, right? I would assume that you've taken a vaccine before, right?
I took vaccine when I was in school, but I didn't know what I know now.
Okay.
I took vaccine before.
Okay. So, is it that now that you're not in support of vaccines across the board, or is it that you're not in support of COVID-19 vaccines?
I am not going to say whether I am for or against, but let us look at the history of what's been happening to our people. Mr. Cornelius, if you have money, if you're what they call a wealthy person, now, and you're sitting there and you're watching your money grow, ideas come along with the growing of your money. So, what are you going to do? Someone mentioned earlier, I can't remember if it's on this station or some other station, that they are now going into space. We saw two of the wealthy people have made their journey into space just last month or early this month. So when people who have money, they have ideas. Do you know that the guy who died just a couple months ago, it is alleged, and I'm referring to the Queen's husband, it is alleged that he said before he died that when he died, he wanted to come back as in reincarnation as a deadly virus to wipe out population control. You can check this out on YouTube. These are the people who are up against us, Mr. Cornelius. And whether you want to believe it or not, I am not going to persuade anyone to believe what I'm saying, but the facts are there.
And where you said you get this information from, sorry?
Well, I can't remember exactly. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube, but I promise I'll try and get it for the next time I talk to you. Cornelius, this is a global warfare. It's a global warfare, and we are the targeted ones. Because whether you want to believe it or not, we were in bondage for 400 years, according to the book.
So, I just wanted to understand what you're saying better. You're saying we as black people are being targeted through the vaccines?
Cornelius, let us analyze for a minute, right? What was taken from us? Our name, our culture, our spirituality, our education system. Again, I'm going to, you look it up yourself. You go on YouTube and type in Lord Macaulay's letter to the British Parliament in 1835, the 2nd of February.
Right. I understand what you're saying, caller, but I'm asking you a specific question.
Yes.
My question? My question is, are you saying that the vaccine is targeted for black people or at black people?
Black people, colored people, everywhere.
That's what you're saying?
That's my opinion. That is my opinion. And from the statistics, we can look back at everything that they have done to us. In Chicago, they put things in the water to... Cornelius, this thing is so deep, right? It is so deep. We're closing our eyes to our reality.
But I understand what you're saying, caller, and I respect your review. But with respect, I believe it's more so of a conspiracy theory where you believe that the vaccine is targeted to wipe out the black population. I don't share your views. I don't share your views because if that was the case, then they would have said that the vaccine should only be for black people. But black, white, you name it, are taking the vaccine.
Well, to make everything look polished, they don't care if they take down some of their own as well. This is my opinion, Cornelius, because I mean, you know, first they said it was a bat that the virus came from, and you know, Cornelius, we know otherwise. We know otherwise, Cornelius. You know, I mean, looking at what is happening now, I'll give you another example of how we're being targeted. And when I said we, you know, let me say the poorer class, the majority of the human race. You know of a company called Seedco?
No, I don't.
And let me give you a little breakdown of what Seedco is. Seedco is an agriculture company out of France. Now, what France have done? France, just like how the guy for Facebook is the front guy. France, Seedco have set up a black guy in Africa, South Africa, to run Seedco. Seedco is manufacturing GMO seeds. Seedco, along with Monsanto, you can check them out on Google, and you will be amazed to see who name comes up behind these companies. So what they're doing, those people that have money, they create seeds that cannot reproduce. So we same seedlings here in since the pandemic, I am doing some agriculture in my yard. And I went up to the agriculture department, I purchased seedlings, slips, eggplant, sweet pepper, onions. Before, say 20, 30 years ago, you could have got seeds from a sweet pepper that turned red on your tree, sun it, and plant it, and it comes and bear. Since the pandemic, I went up there and I got these seeds, and I dried these seeds in the sun, the eggplant and the sweet pepper. Today, nothing. The first bear that I got, that was it. They never bear a second. I let some of the peppers and the eggplant come to ripe, and I collect the seeds, I dry them. Plant them, they bust up, and they just withered. Seedco, you have to buy the seeds, the fertilizer, and the pesticide from Seedco. When you fertilize or you pesticide your plant from insects, the plant itself absorbs these pesticides and the fertilizer, which in terms come down to we, the poorer class, who then consume them. Now, without calling any name, you know who stepped down from the company. That person is now into agriculture. What are they doing? They are now growing, and it's been happening for decades. They are growing organic food for themselves and the wealthy class. So we are consuming Seedco, GMO, genetic modified organisms, which are slowly killing us with the fertilizer and the pesticide. And we don't know this. These are the things we need to pay attention to, Mr. Cornelius. And I'm not striking fear out there in people. I just want our people to be aware that the people who are creating vaccine and virus, how can we trust these people who've been targeting us with AIDS, Ebola, syphilis, and all these kind of experiments they have done on our people? Thank you for hearing me.
Right, caller, thank you for your contribution. It is 1:16 p.m. and you're listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. A very interesting conversation developing here this afternoon, and we're entertaining this conversation. I'm listening to the contributions that have been made by the callers. Very interesting, very thought-provoking as well. We are still taking calls. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 0989 and 662-0989. I am also looking at the we're live on Facebook at WINN Media SKN, as well as YouTube at WINN Media SKN, and I am following the comments on our YouTube page. A comment says, "You can't force anyone to accept you because of your choice. Every choice has a consequence to it." I think people should have a choice. I guess they're referring to the vaccines. They believe that people should have a choice, whether they want to be vaccinated or not. And that choice would come with a consequence, whether you decide to take it or not. But we realize all across the world, they're moving towards... So governments are not coming out bluntly and clearly and saying that, well, you have to take it. But mandatory measures are being put in place. And so you're now in a position or backed in a corner where you have to either take the vaccine or take a test every 2 weeks. So that is what we're seeing happening. It's not just here. And it's happening across the Caribbean region. It's happening internationally. In New York, you can't... I understand that from the 16th, today's the 13th, from the 16th, you can't enter a restaurant or a bar or a club without showing proof of vaccination. So I'm not saying that to justify it. I'm saying that, be realistic, St Kitts and Nevis is not the only country where you're seeing mandatory measures. It's happening all across the globe. And this is where eventually the world will move towards, where the vaccine for COVID-19, it would either become mandatory, where you must take it, or you're going to be faced with mandatory measures. And that's the harsh reality. What can we do to stop it? I mean, there are people that have expressed that they don't want to. And that is, I respect your opinion. I totally respect your opinion, you know. And so we're going to continue to see protests being orchestrated, being done, in different countries, because people are not in support of the mandatory administration of COVID-19 vaccines. It is 1:19. We're winding down. We're going to wrap up this program at 1:30. Let me just say that we're coming back tomorrow for Inside the News. Tomorrow's Inside the News will be a very interesting and exciting panel discussion. And the topic is CARICOM doing enough to assist Haiti? Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices. Caller, good afternoon. You're on Voices.
Good afternoon, Cornelius.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I've been listening to your program for not too long, but long enough to hear certain things being echoed. And the last caller mentioned something that I've been hearing for a very long time, seeing it on TV ads, Monsanto. And in America, you have these lawyers who is saying to people, if they're being affected by these chemicals, they will take on the case for them, free of charge. And before that incident that they have in America with this Monsanto, there was farmers in the banana farmers in the Windward. Certain chemicals that they were using, and over a period of time, they became non-productive. The farmer, as in, when I say non-productive, they of themselves, with children and different, from the chemical they've been using on the banana farm. So, I don't, of the view that this gentleman journey or others is instilling fear in people. The reality is there, but one of the problem that we have is because it haven't reached to our shores, or maybe reached to our shores and it's being swept under the rug. because certain people in St. Kitts have certain complications, but have not been diagnosed properly, or even if never been tell them what caused it to happen to them. You know, and to the vaccine, if you listen daily, it's always a different theory what the vaccine can do, what it is not doing, and it's confusing. Because right now, they're telling you, go back to the non-pharmaceutical, and you might have to take a booster shot. And the same vaccine which was brought here yesterday. So, like I'm saying, as everybody is saying, I'm not going to tell no one take it, I'm not going to tell no one take it. It's just left to be seen, because most people who is not taking it, it's not the problem that they don't want to take it, because everybody been vaccinated before. But the education now and what is been happening around the world, people is just say, well, I'll wait and see. I mean, you might not live to see, but someone else will live to see the outcome of what's happening today. I'll continue listening off here.
Right. Thank you, caller, for your contribution. It is 1:23. You're still taking calls here on WINN FM 98.9's Voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. There's a comment here on the YouTube page, but before I get to that comment, I'll take this call. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon.
Now we're here listening, and I'm listening all of them. I can say this, right? I know some people directly cannot take the vaccine because of what they take with. Some people just can't take it. But let me say this, right? You said something earlier. You said, no, if you listen a lot to the guys who's talking against the vaccine, they're telling you black people, black people, black people, black people. No, it ain't black people all over the world. White people in Europe, Indians in Central America and South America, Indians in India, Pakistanis, this, that. You have Africans on the African land. Now, there's a lot of things we put in our bodies every day that is poisonous to our bodies. But it ain't a concern. No. Let me say this. It ain't got no medicine that is 100% perfect. I mean, sometimes you listen to TV and you hear them advertising a drug. And the side effect is so bad that it tends to change your mind. But they tell you if it works for you, it will work well. Doctors will go to doctors and they tell you, well, look, we're going to try this medicine. Come back in the next 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and if it works, I will continue giving. If it's not well, I'll try the next one. No medicine is perfect. But the way a lot of these guys putting it out, some of them are deliberate. Some don't know what they're talking about. Some playing scientists. Some just playing natural well I want to talk. Right? And they're just confusing the people. Well, what I want to say is this. That I believe, and this is my point, because it ain't just one set of people taking it. It's black, white, Indian, Chinese, all. I mean, you have different vaccines. Some people is arguing that, oh, none of the vaccines approved. But they got a problem with that because a lot of the medicine that out here ain't approved, but they try it and it work. And if it work and it work, well, they give it the pass. Right? Some people is saying the vaccine come too soon. No. If it takes 10 years to do, you hear them say, Lord, they think killing people and they can't find nothing yet. The people try to find something to try to help us. They ain't tell us it is perfect, but they tell us, try it. Try it. Try to help. The scientist is working the tail out What do you mean to tell me? The scientists are dumb. That they're gonna poison the whole world? Huh? I know people out there windful, but Lord, come better than that. But some people, they just windful, and they try to put people, because they know a lot of people are not thinking. They know a lot of people think. Some people is fearful of needle, some people is fearful of drugs, and so they put all kind of thing in your mind.
Right. Well, thank you,
And try
callers,
to mislead you.
for your contribution.
Right?
We want
You
to take some
listen
more
to them,
calls.
You listen to them, you hear them.
Right. Thank you so much for your
What you have to say?
contribution.
What you said here, Mr. Cornelius?
Yes, I said thank you for your contribution. We want to take some more calls before we wrap up. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good one. We have another call on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, man. Good afternoon. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Yeah, I just wanted to zoom in and say one thing specifically that I'm concerned about, that I've been hearing about recently. The government is proposing to go into some type of contract about, bringing a solar farm there to St Kitts and Bastille. You guys are going to be able to bring forth that information to the public. I don't think the public is well versed on such a venture by the government, and there's been no town hall meetings. You guys being in the media, or you guys are going to shed light on this venture that the government is trying to go into. I heard one or two persons talk about it, but I'm very concerned about that because I don't see why the people would not protest against such a venture from the government, by the government, because it doesn't appear like, what the government is trying to do. The people will have no ownership in such said company. I don't know how to express what I'm feeling right now about that, but, the public needs some more information on that venture, that proposed venture. Yeah, me personally, I don't agree with anything like that. And the people in St Kitts and Nevis, they need to pay attention to what's going on, because, the one natural resources, the sun that we have there in the Caribbean, it's very unfair that we're going to sit there and let other people come in and control such a thing. We don't have not that much natural resources, and the people should be protective over that type of stuff and show concern in owning such companies and reap the benefits from them.
Right.
So if there's any way you can do some homework on that and bring some, light to the public, man, I'll appreciate it.
Right. Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution.
Okay. You're welcome, man. Thanks.
Yeah. We're going to wrap up calls right here on Voices. I wanted to get into this comment quickly before we wrap up. There's a comment on the YouTube page that says, I don't think they're just targeting black people. My issue is this, looking at the stats. Okay, so they have advanced technology so much so that they can target a certain gene pool that even if a white man and a black man take the same vaccine, they can target only the black person. I said that to say this: they don't have to say only black people. The vaccine can be technologically made that only a certain gene pool get messed up. And this is my response to that. I'm not refuting what you're saying. I'm saying that if there was a serious attempt to wipe out the black population, I don't think they would have done it or tried to do it through COVID-19 vaccines that many black people are still reluctant to taking. They would have done it through our cell phones, the Samsung Galaxy here. They would have done it through the Advils that we take every day. The PM Advils that we take when we go to bed. They would have done it through the paracetamols and so many other drugs. That's just my take on the whole situation. But this is a conversation for another day. It is 1:31 and it's the end of Voices. We're going to come back next week to have to continue Voices with a different topic. I was saying tomorrow's Inside the News. Tune in. Tomorrow we're having a panel discussion on the topic about CARICOM's response to Haiti's situation, and not just specifically the assassination of the president, but issues that have affected Haiti over the years. There is political instability, environmental issues, governance issues affecting Haiti, the people of Haiti, and we want to have a conversation on that. And so I want you to join me tomorrow morning at 11 for Inside the News. And let me just say that we're going to have a representative from the St Kitts and Nevis Haitian Association, the president, which is Mr. Ralph Felix, and some young people, one from Antigua and two from St Kitts, will be joining us on this panel discussion. Is CARICOM doing enough to assist Haiti? If you have any questions that you would want to submit in advance, you can send them at 662-2204, which is our WhatsApp number. You can also send us an email at info@WINNMedia SKN.com. That is info@WINNMediaSKN.com, where we can take your questions. We're going live tomorrow at 11 for Inside the News. This has been Voices. You guys have a good Friday, and see you tomorrow.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag Special.
Running August 12th to August 25th.
Essential everyday disinfectant wipes, 50